So risk management, question number 1. In question number 1 on risk management, we have a portfolio comprising of 2 stocks ABC, XYZ. We are given the investment in the 2 shares 200 lakh, 200 lakh. Standard deviation daily is also same 1% and correlation between them is 0.3. Question says calculate the 10-day 99% VAR, and we are given the Z score at 99% is 2.33. It is said show your calculations up to 4 decimal points. So how you should do the sum? First of all, calculate the standard deviation of each stock in rupee terms. So 200 lakh into 1% is what? 2 lakhs. That is the standard deviation in rupee terms. So 2 lakh for stock ABC, 2 lakh for stock XYZ. Now apply the Markowitz formula for SD of the portfolio. So SD of the portfolio is square root 2 square plus 2 square plus 2 into 0.3 into 2 into 2. I mean to say variance of ABC plus variance of XYZ plus 2 into correlation into SD of ABC into SD of XYZ. I repeat, variance of ABC, that means 2 square, plus variance of XYZ, that is 2 square, plus 2 into correlation, that is 0.3 into SD2 into SD2. Okay, now somebody may be confused that, sir, we apply the formula weight square into variance plus weight square into variance plus 2 into weight into covariance. Why are you not taking the weights? Now, what is the importance of weight? The importance of weight is that the amount which is invested in the 2 stock, that is used to find out the weights. Now, we have already used the amount now because we have calculated the SD in amount terms, 200 lakhs into 1%. So the effect of the weights has gone into it. So can we do it weight square and all that? You can do it in a normal checking, but in CA Institute checking you can't do, because when he will find that your answers will not match, because you will compute, for example, the weights are half. So I can do 0.5 square into 1 square plus 0.5 square into 1 square plus 2 into 0.5 into 0.5 into 0.3 into 1 into 1. That's SD of the portfolio in percentage. But they will not accept the solution, I know it. So it's better to know what they have done. So calculate the SD in amount, which is 2 lakh, and then SD of portfolio is 2 square plus 2 square plus 2 into 0.3 into 2 into 2. So what if next time investment in ABC is 300 lakh, investment in XYZ is 200 lakh, no issues. In that case, the SD of ABC will be 300 lakh into 1%, that is 3 lakh. SD of XYZ will be 2 lakh. So 3 square plus 2 square plus 2 into 0.3 into 3 into 2. So what if the standard deviation of both the stocks are different? No issues. Suppose the standard deviation of first stock is 1%, standard deviation of the second stock is 2%. You calculate the first stock, say 300 lakh, 1% is 3 lakh. For second stock, 200 lakh, 2% is 4 lakh. So 3 square plus 4 square plus 2 into 0.3 into 3 into 4 square root. Understood? There is no question of any confusion. So you have computed the SD of the portfolio in rupee terms. Now we are supposed to calculate the 10-day 99% VAR. So we don't want a 1-day SD, we want a 10-day SD. You know the square root rule? If 1-day SD is known, the 10-day SD is 1-day SD into square root of 10. 1-day SD into square root of 10. So you get the 10-day SD. But if you have to calculate 99% VAR at a 99% confidence, so Z is 2.33. So VAR is 2.33 into 10-day SD. 2.33 into 10-day SD. Okay, please understand, VAR is scaled volatility. VAR is what? VAR is standard deviation, but not standard deviation at 1 Z. It is standard deviation at the Z corresponding to the level of confidence. And then you can interpret that this is the maximum possible loss, okay, under normal circumstances with a 1% chance of being exceeded. Question number 2 on VAR. It's easier. In this case, we have only one stock. The amount invested in the stock, the market value is 1 crore. Okay, let me call it 100 lakhs. And the standard deviation is 2%. So first of all, you calculate standard deviation in rupee terms. So 2% of 100 lakh is what? 2 lakh. So 2 lakh is the standard deviation in rupee terms. Now you have to find out the 1-day VAR at 99% confidence. So the 1-day VAR is obviously the standard deviation that you have calculated, 2 lakhs multiplied by 2.33. Correct? That's the answer. Then you have to calculate the 10-day VAR. So the 10-day VAR is 1-day VAR into root over 10. The 10-day VAR is 1-day VAR into root over 10. Of course, all this is based on the assumption of normal distribution, and you can interpret the answer that this is the maximum possible loss with a 1% chance of being seeded. Question number 3. Now this is a sum based on back calculation. The language of the sum at some places is incorrect. You will find it. And also the solution to my understanding is not correct. But what is correct is defined by CA Institute. So I will definitely point out knowledge-wise what is correct or incorrect. But what matters is what CA Institute has done. So it's given on Tuesday morning. You have 7 lakhs lying in your bank account. This amount is available from Tuesday till Friday. The bank requires a minimum balance of 1,000 all the time it's given. So even if on a single day the balance falls below 1,000, it is not allowed. Okay, minimum balance of 1,000 all the time. Investor desires to make a maximum possible investment where war should not exceed the balance lying in his bank account. Now this is a mistake in the language. War should not exceed the balance lying in the bank account. That means war should not exceed 1,000. Or war should not exceed 7 lakh. That's wrong. The language should have been investor wants to make maximum possible investment such that, okay, the war, that is the loss, should not exceed an amount such that the minimum balance is breached. Okay. Anyways, let me not teach English language to them. Standard deviation of the market price is 1.5% per day. Required confidence level is 99%. Okay, now you know that for 99% confidence Z is 2.33. In case you don't know, so you check out you search for 0.99 in the center of the table, because in the center of the table we have the cumulative distribution. So we get 0.9901 if you are seeing, and that is 2.33. Okay. Anyways, I had made you remember in class that I tend to remember all this via area in the left tail, because that's the tail of loss. So 1% in the left tail means 2.33. That means 99%. 2.5% in the left tail. That means 97.5% confidence is 1.96. 5% in the left tail, important. That means 95% confidence is 1.64. 10% in the left tail, that is 90%, is 1.28. So I had made you remember this. Okay, I dictated this in class. Anyways, so we have 2.33Z. So in this case, war is known and we have to find out the amount that we can invest. Okay, so the way to go about is that I feel, according to my knowledge, that the daily loss should not exceed that 6,99,000 daily loss. But they have solved it saying that since it's a 4-day period, so in 4 days the loss cannot exceed 6,99,000. Now that's stupidity. Every day the loss cannot exceed 6,99,000, because suppose we have a loss of 7,50,000 on day 1. So we are having 7 lakh in the bank account. If 7,50,000 is the loss, we'll have a debit balance of 50,000 which the bank is not allowing. So obviously the daily loss should not exceed 6,99,000, but Institute has interpreted that the 4-day war at 2.33 should not exceed 6,99,000. Anyways, let's follow them. So 6,99,000 is the war. So you divide it by 2.33, you get what? SD. SD of what? 4 days. You divide it by root over 4, you get what? SD of 1 day. And what is the percentage SD? 1.5%. Divide by 1.5% and you get what? The amount of the investment that can be made. So it was very fast. I want to understand once again the calculation. Okay. 7 lakh is the balance. 1,000 is the minimum allowed. So 6,99,000 is the loss we can tolerate. So 6,99,000 is the war. That is at 2.33Z. So divide by 2.33. You get the standard deviation in amount. This standard deviation according to them is 4 days. So divide by root over 4. You get standard deviation per day. But this standard deviation is amount. The SD is 1.5%. So divide by 1.5% and you get the maximum possible investment that can be made. Okay. So risk management question number 4. Now this question is actually not on war. This question is on the concept of normal distribution. And that is why everybody should know normal distribution. So we know that normal distribution is a bell-shaped distribution with 2 parameters, mean and SD. Mean in this sum is 2 crores, standard deviation is 1.6 crores. You should draw the normal distribution. There are 2 scales, X scale, Z scale. So X is NPV over here and Z scale is the standard normal distribution. So mean in the center is 2 crores. Now, the sum says that in case the company loses more than 1 crore, there will be financial difficulties. So determine the probability of financial difficulty. So loses more than 1 crore. So that means the loss minus 1 crore has to be marked on the left side. You have marked 2 crore at the center of the distribution. You should mark minus 1 crore on the left side. Okay, on the left side. When you mark minus 1 crore on the left side, okay, you have to shade the left tail, and when you do that, calculate the z corresponding to -1. What is the formula for z? Z equal to x minus mu by sigma. Z equal to x minus mu divided by sigma. So you get -1 -2 divided by 1.6. -1 -2 divided by 1.6, that comes to minus 1.875. So I mark minus 1.875 in the graph. Okay, minus 1.875 in the graph. Please have a look at the graph. Now I have to find out the probability of z less than minus 1.875. So I go back to the question, and in the question I have 1.87 probability, 1.88 probability. So 1.875 is obviously 0.4693 plus 0.4699 by 2. 0.4693 plus 0.4699 by 2, that comes to 0.4696. 0.4696. Now this is the area between 0 and z, between the mean and that figure 0 and z, but we want to find out the area in the left tail. So 0.5 is the area on both the sides. So 0.5 minus 0.4696. 0.5 minus 0.4696. Okay, so 50% minus 46.96%. That means 3.04% is the answer. 3.04%. Institute has done it wrong. They have given the answer 46.96%. That is wrong. 3.04% is the answer. Okay, this time you are supposed to give the correct answer because they will acknowledge the mistake. Thank you. Question number 5. Now this is a very, very important question, although it seems to be a theory, but it is the backbone of the risk management chapter. And in fact, if somebody were to decide to do risk management elective paper, you have to read the write-up and you have to then point out the types of risk to which the company is exposed. So here we have a company, I'm not reading line by line because I don't like that way. Here we have an Indian company which is in the business of manufacturing electric cables and data cables, including fiber optic cables. For this purpose, it has to export the finished product. It has also got to import some raw materials like copper, aluminium, other non-ferrous metals, okay, from foreign countries. It's also having its manufacturing facilities abroad. So you understand from this para only, there is currency risk, there is political risk, okay, in those countries where it has establishments, and there is commodity risk because copper, aluminium, the prices can go up and down. So 3 risks are there from first para. One is the currency risk because export import, the other is your commodity risk, and the third is the political risk, okay. And then it's given that they use long-term debt and equity to meet long-term fund requirement, but also use short-term financial instruments such as commercial paper, bank rate, term loan. So there's a lot of interest rate risk involved. Okay, interest rate risk involved. You can also call it market risk. Recently, due to stiff competition from competitors, TRC has relaxed its policy for granting credit, and to manage receivables, it has formed a separate credit division. So there is credit risk, there is liquidity risk, okay, the fact that debtors are not paying on time. So credit risk, liquidity risk. Further, to hedge itself against various risks, it has entered into various derivative contracts settled outside the exchange. Now this is called counterparty risk or settlement risk. Counterparty risk or settlement risk, because this is OTC derivative. In OTC derivative like forward contract swap, there is a chance that the counterparty may default. We are not talking about futures over here. We are talking about forward contract swaps. Okay. So these are the risks which are given in the answer. You may read it later on. Okay. Thank you.